Hey there, my friend. Can you believe we're already 5 days into this Mike McCarthy contract drama and the Cowboys are just now starting talks about keeping him around? It's wild, isn't it? For a team as big as ours, this kind of delay feels like playing a game of chicken with our own future. What's Jerry Jones thinking here? The report from NFL Network hit like a bombshell. Apparently, Jerry and McCarthy have been discussing the season and their future together, but no decisions have been made. Meanwhile, the exclusive negotiating window is closing fast Tuesday, to be exact. If no deal is struck by then, McCarthy becomes a free agent, free to interview with other teams. Just imagine the chaos that could cause. Here's a question for you. Why would it take so long to decide on a coach you've had for 4 seasons? If he's your guy, wouldn't this have been settled on Black Monday, like other teams do? Either you keep him, or you move on and start fresh. Dragging it out makes it feel like the Cowboys are second-guessing themselves or worse, stalling for attention. Now, I've got to ask, what's your one-word reaction to all this? Delay, frustration, or maybe something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments I'll be reading. And let's do a quick poll. What do you think? Should the Cowboys commit to McCarthy or move on? Hit the comments with state if you think he deserves another shot or go if it's time for a change. Speaking of change, we've got to talk about what's really going on behind the scenes with Jerry and McCarthy. Are the Cowboys serious about building a winning future, or is this just more of the same old dance? Stick with me, we're getting into the juicy details next. Alright, let's break this down a little more. The Cowboys and McCarthy are finally opening contract talks, but here's the kicker: there is still no agreement on some key points. Word is, Jerry Jones might be pushing for an incentive-based deal. You know, something like win big, get paid big. Sounds reasonable on paper, right? But here's the thing: most NFL coaching contracts don't work that way. Coaches usually get a set salary, and bonuses are added for championships. Honestly, it feels like the Cowboys are hedging their bets. If Jerry really believed in McCarthy, wouldn't he just lock him in with a solid deal? What does it say about the team's confidence in their head coach if they're only willing to offer short-term security? Imagine you're McCarthy, would you settle for a 1 or 2 year contract, knowing it's basically a test run? Here's what's sticking in my head. If Jerry and the Cowboys don't trust McCarthy enough to commit long-term, why are they even having these talks? If he's not your guy, move on. Dragging this out doesn't just create uncertainty for McCarthy, it impacts the entire coaching staff and, let's be real, the players too. But let's hear from you. How many years should the Cowboys offer McCarthy? Comment with 1, 2, or 3 plus 2. Let us know your take. And here's another thought to chew on. What if this hesitation isn't about McCarthy's performance at all? Maybe it's about the Cowboys being, well, cheap. After all, giving a coach a big guaranteed deal doesn't stop you from firing them later. The only thing it costs is money. So is this about saving dollars? Or does Jerry really believe McCarthy might not be the guy to lead us to the promised land? In the next chapter, we'll dive into how this situation reflects Jerry's overall approach to running the team. You won't want to miss it. Now that we've talked about the contract, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. What's going on with Jerry Jones and his decision-making process? The hesitation around McCarthy's future isn't just about his coaching style, it's part of a larger pattern we've seen with Jerry and his management of the Cowboys. Here's where it gets tricky. Jerry's always been a hands-on owner, and while that can be great in some ways, it can also make things feel well, a little chaotic. From the outside, it seems like Jerry doesn't always make decisions with a long-term vision in mind. Instead, it feels like he's playing a game of what's trending right now instead of focusing on building something sustainable for the future. Look, I get it, every NFL owner wants to win a Super Bowl, but the Cowboys seem to be constantly chasing that immediate fix, whether it's with players or coaches. Take McCarthy, for instance. Why are we just now having contract talks? Why didn't this happen earlier in the season? It almost seems like Jerry's waiting for that perfect moment when everything aligns perfectly. But that's not how championships are won. Teams that win consistently make solid decisions early, plan for the long haul, and trust in their leadership. What do you think? Is Jerry's impatience a blessing or a curse? Comment below with your thoughts. Is it better to make decisions quickly, or should the Cowboys be more patient and deliberate with their approach? And speaking of impatience, could this whole situation be a sign that Jerry's more comfortable with short-term solutions rather than long-term commitments? I'll tell you this much, in the NFL, that kind of thinking doesn't always pan out. Stay tuned as we explore the fallout from this mindset in the next chapter. Alright, now that we've talked about Jerry's management style, let's dive into the heart of the matter. McCarthy. Is he the right guy for the job, or is he just another victim of Jerry's whims? I don't think we can ignore that McCarthy has had some solid moments with the Cowboys. He's been to the playoffs and has kept the team competitive in a tough NFC East. But let's be real, his tenure hasn't been perfect. Whether it's game management issues, questionable play calling, or not getting over the playoff hump, McCarthy hasn't exactly wowed the fan base. What's most frustrating, though, is the lack of clarity around his future. It's like Jerry Jones is trying to hedge his bets, offering a contract that's short-term and full of caveats. That's no way to handle a head coach. If McCarthy's the guy, give him the security and resources to succeed. If he's not, pull the plug and move on quickly. The in-between, the back and forth, it just creates unnecessary stress and uncertainty. Now, here's where it gets interesting. What would a McCarthy-free Cowboys team look like? Who could step in and take the reins? Some fans are already speculating about potential replacements. Names like Dan Quinn, Sean Payton, or even former Cowboys legends are being thrown around. But here's my question for you: would a change at head coach even fix the problems with the team? I mean, is it really the coach's fault? Or is there a deeper issue at play here with the roster, the front office, or even the team culture? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Vote in the poll: should McCarthy stay or go? As we head into the final chapter of this discussion, I want to make sure we're all on the same page about what this really means for the future of the Cowboys. McCarthy's status is just one part of a much bigger puzzle, and we'll see how this unfolds. Will it be a fresh start, or will the Cowboys stick with what they know? Now that we've talked about McCarthy's situation, Jerry's potential plans, and what a coaching change could mean for the Cowboys, let's look ahead to what's next. The future of the Dallas Cowboys is going to be shaped by decisions made in the coming weeks and months, and McCarthy's contract situation is just the tip of the iceberg. If McCarthy does stick around, will he be able to bring this team to the promised land? Can he build a squad that finally gets over the playoff hump and makes a legitimate Super Bowl run? The Cowboys have the talent. They've got weapons on offense with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Tony Pollard, and on defense, we've seen the likes of Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs show what they're capable of. But it's not just about the players. It's about how those players are used, how the coaching staff maximizes their potential, and how the team as a whole stays focused under the big lights. On the other hand, if McCarthy is out, what does the Cowboys' future look like? Is it another rebuilding phase with a new coach, or could Jerry Jones swing for the fences with a big-name hire? There's a lot of uncertainty in the air right now, and it's hard to say exactly where this will go. But one thing's for sure: the Cowboys' future isn't going to be decided by just one person. It's about the overall vision, the entire organization coming together to create something special. So let me ask you, how do you see this playing out? Do you think McCarthy will be back for another season? Do you think a new coach could make a difference, or do you think the problems go deeper than the coaching staff? Vote in the poll or drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you. This is a pivotal moment for the Cowboys, and your opinion matters. It's been quite a ride discussing this, but we're far from the finish line. The decisions made in the near future will define the next chapter in the Cowboys' storied history.